Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 of the FBI's most wanted. In 1996, the FBI launched their 10 most wanted list. This isn't just a list of the most dangerous people out there. It's also a list of people who are likely to be able to be captured by the FBI. Who knows, maybe after this video you'll recognize someone on this list. Many of them are living under fake names, secretly, and could be living right next to you. But either way, these people have done some insane things, so let's hear these crazy stories. But before we get into it, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too, or you'll be on the FBI's most wanted list. Coming in at number 10 is YASER ABDEL. YASER ABDEL was born in Egypt and moved to the USA. He soon met his wife and had two daughters, Amina and Sarah. At first, things were all good with YASER and his family, but as years went by, he began to get more and more controlling. He began being a very angry man, shouting at his wife and kids. He also became incredibly controlling about every aspect of their lives. He would do things like trace all of their calls. No one was allowed to talk to anyone on the phone unless it was on speakerphone and he was there. Not only that, he would bug his wife's car and measure the miles she took. He also forbid his daughters Amina and Sarah from dating any boys or having any friends who were boys. He worked as a taxi driver, and when he wasn't doing a fare, he would often stop outside his daughter's school and spy on them. Eventually, things began getting physical with YASER. On Christmas Day of 2015, YASER snapped. He began getting physical when he found out his daughters had been dating secretly without him knowing. To try and protect their lives, their mother took them away to Oklahoma. But a year later, the mother moved back to Texas with her girls to continue their schooling. However, this proved to be a big mistake. On New Year's Day, he told his daughters to get in his taxi cab. He said they were going to drive and get some food, but instead he pulled a pistol out and began firing at his daughters. Amina passed away instantly, but Sarah managed to call 911. She was recorded saying, "Help, my dad shot me, I'm dying, I'm dying." Days later, Amina and Sarah were both found passed away in their father's taxi. Right now, YASER is still on the run, and there's a $100,000 reward for him. The FBI believes that YASER is secretly living in New York City under a fake name, driving taxis to this day. So if you recognize this man, then be sure to contact the FBI. Next up is Robert William Fisher. In 1998, this man had a one-night stand. This led to marital troubles which he had to solve with his wife. This isn't exactly an uncommon thing to have happen. But Robert William Fisher is also a control freak, and things got out of hand very quickly. He turned into a control freak. He began monitoring everyone his wife and kids talked to. And much like YASER did, he tracked his wife's gas mileage to see how far she'd driven. Eventually, Robert's wife Mary got tired of his controlling ways and intended to divorce him. But when Robert learned of this news, he was absolutely infuriated. And he reacted in the most crazy way you could imagine. Early in the morning on April 10th, 2001, he took Mary's life. He then took his two children's lives as well. He then drove away, but not before leaving the gas on in their home. At 8:42 AM, their house exploded. He did this to try and make it look like an accident. But I'm not sure how he thought this would work, seeing as he mysteriously disappeared the same day. Robert Fisher fled Arizona, and it's not known where he is right now. He's been on the FBI's most wanted list since 2002. So far, the FBI have made various age-enhancing photos of Robert. But right now, it's not even known if he's alive. Right now, the FBI assumes Robert is living under a fake name either somewhere in America or Mexico. So if you know this man, then contact the FBI. Next up is Jason Derek Brown. To his friends and neighbors, Jason Brown was known as a businessman. He ran two businesses in Utah, a toy business and an advertising company. He presented himself as a well-to-do businessman. But in reality, he'd racked up a massive amount of debt. In 2004, he took a firearms class. He passed a background check and got himself a Glock 45. His instructor described him as an arrogant student who didn't know a thing about firearms. But he clearly did know how to use one. Later that same month, he took the life of Robert Palomares. Robert was an armored truck guard carrying $56,000 in cash. Presumably to get out of debt and start a new life, Jason took his life and stole the $56K. He then rode off on a bike which was linked back to him. However, despite him being arrogant, inept, and not covering his tracks, he remains not caught. That's right, the FBI has a $200,000 reward out for Jason. So far, they're not sure where he could be, but they say he could be living under a fake name in either France or Thailand. They also say he has a California surfer dude appearance and resembles the actor Sean Penn. In fact, a few years back, one of Sean Penn's stunt doubles was wrongly arrested as they thought he was Jason. So keep an eye out for Jason, just make sure you don't see Sean Penn instead. Next up is Rafael "CARO" Quintero. Rafael Quintero is one of the leaders of the Guadalajara cartel in Mexico. The Guadalajara cartel is one of the most dangerous cartels on the planet. Rafael is quite different to other people on this list, as he has a net worth of $650 million. He was nicknamed the narco of all narcos, and he's well known for being able to evade the DEA. He has close links to the Sinaloa cartel, the Juarez cartel, and the Tijuana cartel. Rafael imports billions of dollars worth of illegal things into America every single year. And now that Joaquim El Chapo Guzman has been caught, he is now one of the most wanted drug lords in the world. He also has links to Ismael El Mayo Zambada, who is one of the most prominent drug cartel lords in the world. Rafael is currently living in hiding in the mountains of Guadalajara. And because you can't even get up into the mountains without facing the cartel, nobody wants to go after him. They pay off the local authorities and even people high up in politics. So chances are the FBI won't be able to get to Rafael anytime soon. Next up is Alexis Flores. Alexis was an illegal immigrant from Honduras living in Philadelphia. In 2002, he was caught by the ICE and deported to Honduras. However, this deportation proved to be a big mistake. That is because after they took his fingerprints and sent him to Honduras, they realized who Alexis was. Alexis matched the fingerprints of another crime that took place in 2000. In 2000, he took the life of 5-year-old Ariana de Jesus. He did this in Philadelphia, and had he not been deported, he may have been caught. But right now, he's living out in Honduras, and the FBI don't know where he is. His reward is set at $100,000, and he is considered to be highly dangerous. Next up is Santiago Villalba. Santiago Villalba Medeiros is a very dangerous man. When he was just a teenager, he took the life of multiple bystanders in 2010. If you're wondering why, he's a member of the very violent Eastside Locatus Sierra gang. This is a Washington gang which is considered to be one of the worst in the state. Right now, no one's sure where he is, and they say he may not even be in the USA. Only a few pictures exist of him, but as he was in prison when these photos were taken, his head is shaved. They say he may now have grown long hair in an effort to evade the law. And they say he could be in the USA or maybe Mexico. Either way, there's a $20,000 reward, and the FBI would be grateful for any tips. Next up is Bhadresh Kumar Champati Patel. This Indian man who moved to the USA in the 90s is very mysterious. On April 12, 2015, he took the life of his wife in a Dunkin' Donuts. Patel used a knife to take her life and then fled the shop. This occurred in Hanover, Maryland. He was last seen 2 days after this in Pennsylvania. He was taking a train, but the FBI aren't sure where he ended up. They say he could be in Canada, India, New Jersey, Kentucky, Georgia, or Illinois. But the mysterious thing about this guy is that they don't know why he did what he did. It appears that one moment him and his wife are having a nice date, and the next, they definitely weren't. Next up is Alejandro Castillo. This is another very young wanted man. In 2016, when he was only 17, he took the life of Truck Lee. This was a 23-year-old woman he had previously dated. They'd got together when they were working at a restaurant together, but they had various rows and falling outs, and it appeared Alejandro had had enough. He took her life and fled, and right now the FBI don't know where this guy could be. Very few photos of him exist, and it's assumed he's living under a fake name. But the FBI said he's likely still living in America and maybe even living out on the street, homeless. Next up is Eduardo Ravelo. The Barilla Azteca, also known as Los Aztecas, is a very scary gang. It has 5,000 members in Juarez, Mexico, and 3,000 in the USA. It's been in operation ever since 1986, and it was started by Eduardo Ravelo. He is wanted for racketeering, money laundering, and importing various legal things into the USA. He is said to be hiding up in the mountains of Juarez, Mexico with his wife and kids. But because these cartel members are very highly protected, it's very difficult for the FBI to get to him. Much like Rafael Quintero, they pay off various local officials. This grants Eduardo some immunity in his hometown. But should he ever come to the USA, the FBI will be on the case and hopefully get this criminal. Next up is Swirly Man. Now it's time for a bonus one. Christopher Paul Neal is better known as Swirlface. He's a Canadian, but he's committed crimes in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand. He did various obscene acts with very young boys in these countries. And not only that, he even released images of him doing the crimes to these boys. Obviously, he didn't want his identity to be known, so he swirled his face using Photoshop. But amazingly, German computer experts were able to unswirl his face using very complex computer software. After unswirling his face, it was identified that Christopher Paul Neal was behind these images. He was wanted for some time, but in 2007 he was arrested by Thai police. But prior to this, he was incredibly wanted, not only in the USA, but around the world. Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for the scariest, most wanted person on this list. If you guys want more videos on a more light-hearted note, then check out my second channel. There'll be a link to that channel and a video from that channel on screen in a moment. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.